Welcome to NinCast episode 10.5, brought to you by Ninpoku Chronicles and Shinobi viewers everywhere. NC is a role-playing forum site based on the Naruto universe. Come and create your own story at www.ninpoku.com. I am Harashin, your host, and one of my co-hosts, Jake.
Hola!
And a guest star, Snook. Elliot.
Hello.
So Elliot's going to be our guest star. He's from Stone. CJ is currently on vacation, so he won't be attending the podcast. And this is going to be the mini episode because I'm going to be gone this week, and so we'll probably cancel the actual official episode for another time. We'll probably schedule what time we're going to be doing it. So tune in for the actual schedule for the next episode. So I want to cover some small things before we get to our main event thing. So in regards to announcements, there's a lot of things going on. First off, there's some dev stuff going on, so I'll let Jake talk about it. But before I do, I want to talk about some things that are going on in Cloud. We're trying to create the Old Gods arc, and what we're trying to do is we have a main villain. He's going to be the God of Destruction, the Elder God of Destruction. So basically, there's some Elder God that wants to come out and destroy the world, and the only way he can come out is basically have any chaotic thing that happens makes him stronger to make him be able to appear in the physical realm. And he kind of manipulates the other gods to do his bidding. So, and then the good gods obviously will try to not stop him, but influence the people in the physical realm to make them aware of what's going on. So we're still playing on the details, but that's what we're trying to do in council. In regards to other announcements, NC I think is number 3 on top RP sites. So that's great.
Yep.
I think that now we have a lot of new people coming to the site as well because of that. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's pretty much just what's going on in Cloud. Oh yeah, also there's something that's also going on. I don't remember what it was.
I'm taking over.
What was that?
I said I'm taking over.
You're taking over? No. Well, I guess I don't know.
Anyone who pays attention would actually notice currently that there is something going on wherein Hoshikata and a member of Cloud are discussing removing the current leadership of Cloud.
What was it? When was this?
Interesting.
Over the last week or two.
Really?
Yep.
You guys aren't doing the coup. What's it called again?
We're eventually going to work towards holding a coup. Yes.
Against me? I'm against
Shin. Shin, Hikori, Ayumu, and the medic Sinin that no one knows who he is.
Daisuke.
Wow.
Yeah, the one that no one knows who he is. Him.
Daisuke, he's very close to Shin, so why would he do that? Zero.
No, he's not helping. We're holding one against you.
Really?
The plan is to oust all of y'all from power.
All of us?
Mm-hmm.
I like to see that.
No, I never said it's going to happen. That's just what we're planning. It's all in character. It's fun.
Okay. Oh, I also realized how bad our design is. Pretty crappy. It's like a mesh of different things.
For those who aren't aware, CJ normally handles the design thing here. Since he's not available to actually help me figure out how to run this software, I did my best.
Yeah, it's pretty
bad, but apparently my best isn't good enough.
We could go all audio, but then no one would recognize our voices. People.
That's a lot. I sound nothing like you, and neither one of us can match Elliot's accent. So.
Sorry.
Elliot has the best voice, right?
No. Let's continue.
I like that. He's just like, no, let's move on.
Okay, so besides that, there's nothing really going on. Well, that's all that's going on in Cloud. So, Snook, what's going on in Stone? Sorry.
What's going on in Stone?
Yeah.
So in the last month, we had a change of daimyo, so head of the Earth Country, not the village. We had some council changes, and we decided to get a new daimyo NPC for events and around the place. So her name is Hitori Kokoro, I think. Yep, Hitori Kokoro, I got that right. So, new daimyo. We're having an event sometime soon. I think it's in council right now. involving an attack on the village from blood wolves, which are I guess, these strong moving creatures, as well as developing a new gene that you can implant onto people. I think it's called the devil gene. I think it's been named so far. We have some classes going on because we have an influx of a few new students. We had one recently join. We had someone reboot, and we integrated a mercenary who was playing a teenage girl right now, and was mistaken for a student. So she's now.
That would be my little brother.
So yeah, little Kari.
My little brother has become a female puppet.
Yeah, and is now a student in stone.
Yeah. So, in other news, in completely unrelated news, the Asaki clan is about to get shorter by a member.
I mean, you, right?
No.
I mean, no.
He's planning.
I mean, Hoshikata. If Hoshikata finds out his little brother, A, has joined stone, B, has become a human puppet, C, is now a woman, and D, didn't tell anyone in the family that he was even alive, much less about any of that, he's probably going to kill him.
Wow.
That's just sibling love right there.
Yeah, definitely. We've had a few mercenaries request entry. In the last month, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different mercenary groups coming over.
Didn't y'all jump Daichi?
Y'all didn't all jump Daichi. A few people may have gotten into the topic before B-Mod was called.
Has that actually gone anywhere yet?
The B-Mod was called off. I think Endo joined, good old Tsuchikage. And then one of the Ryujin sisters joined. Nothing's really gone on since then. Daichi's just saying there's a prophecy or something. Yeah, essentially.
That's all you have to
He's
say.
just lying about everything. I mean, his reason was like, Carl was like, that can't be trusted or whatever. And it's like, how can anybody believe in the stuff he's saying?
Yeah. And then
he's not as good at it as I am, though.
No. Well, I don't know.
That's debatable. That's debatable.
Oh, no. Hoshikata, let's recount real quick. Killed a missed envoy's bodyguard in your village. Kidnapped a couple of your people. Came back threatening some people. Now that all that's said and done, y'all found out that he kidnapped this person, wiped their memories. Well, no, y'all don't know that he killed someone, actually. Yeah, I'll give you that. Kidnapped 2 people, my bad. Admitted to having ties to a terrorist organization. And you're going to let me join the village, so...
Yeah.
I think I'm doing a great job at talking to people here.
After almost 10 years, it's not like...
I thought it was 5.
Yeah, give or take 5 years, but it's not like...
Give or take 5 years? This isn't a... I'm not making change here. There's no give or take 5 years of a person's life, Shin.
5 years, give or take 5 years.
It's a decade, give or take half that. 50% is not a give or take. 50% is a major thing.
You know, it could be 15 years now instead.
Yeah.
Gosh. Surprise.
Things can change.
Well, I mean, it would make sense considering that after all this happens, he's going to look a bit older.
Yeah. I mean, technically, the very Kage, or any Kage at any point, they're technically leadership. They're the leaders till they die or until they retire. So,
not necessarily. They can be deposed.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's likely possible, but
I've seen that happen.
Options.
I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
But most of them are killed in office. It's not a job with long-term goals.
High life expectancy, yeah.
Yeah, your life expectancy cuts in half when you get the job. It was 4 years, and now it's 2 years. And if you're really good at the job, your life expectancy cuts down to a month and a half because no one wants a good Kage.
I guess we can change this a little bit, but who's the most last long in Kage on
Melkor.
Melkor?
Melkor.
Real Melkor? Okay.
Melkor has to be.
How long have Shin, how long have you been Kage for now?
Not including that pre-hack. Post-hack has been about 4 years. Oh, 3 years, sorry.
3 years.
So, and post-hack pre-hack it was a year, so about 3.5 years, so yes.
Okay. So you must be closing in on it a bit.
Yeah.
At least for second.
Yeah.
I was Kage for a year and a half, I think.
I was Kage for all of a grand total of like 6 months.
I was... Worth it.
Anyway,
Yeah. I did a lot of good things, so...
Why don't you, Jake, why don't you discuss about what's going on in Dead? Because I know you're itching to talk about that stuff.
All right, for those not in the know, Dev has actually, at this point, completed its work on the core abilities. Considering that it's such a major change, and just in the past, people have redone them before and things came out worse, the admin team's wanting to look it over real fast. So while they're doing that, we're going to go ahead and look at a system that has nothing to do with core abilities or bloodlines, and we're going to re-tinker with everything, rehaul it, make it work nicer, make it not as broken. I am, of course, talking about the Kinjutsu.
Mm-hmm.
So, at the moment, Kinjutsu are being redone because we can't do the bloodlines without knowing if we balance the core abilities properly first.
Yes, we were looking at Kinjutsu and we noticed there was just some imbalances on
Some imbalance. We had 2 of them with 9 abilities, 2 of them with 5 abilities, and then they just went all over the place in between there.
Yeah,
and none of them were uniform about... I mean, this one had like 7 jutsu and an ability. This one had 3 abilities and 4 jutsu, and we're like, what?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, can you say it's balanced in overall? Because we
No.
have like... Yeah, I mean...
Well, no.
That's why we're working to balance it.
So
I think the most...
Is it in game? Can you just behave like a bloodline, or is it something completely different? And so
It's different. Right. I'll give it that. It is very different. I mean, like, case in point, Abomination. You can put Abomination... You don't even need a bloodline or core ability, and you can break Abomination. I mean, just completely, utterly, unstoppably broken. It helps to have one, though, because a lot of the Abomination stuff breaks caps. That's why it's so broken. I can put Abomination with anything on the site and make a broken build out of it. It's just that bad.
Okay,
Meanwhile, on the flip side of that argument, let's take a look at Tsukumagami. Yeah, Tsukumagami will make stuff less useful. My Hawkeye build, if I took Tsukumagami with it, I actually got less powerful.
Mm. It's interesting, Tsukumagami with ranged, especially bows, because you can only augment 3 on your weapon, and now quivers don't count as your weapon, and you get the extra one on your bow.
Yeah. Well, no, quivers. Wait, what? What's this about quivers?
Well, with the weapon mastery bow, you get augment on
3
your
quivers
instead. Yeah.
Yep. They don't get an extra augment slot, but still, at that point, you have 5 augment slots to most people's 3.
Yep. But you can't double the ones on your quiver. Because
you wouldn't have to. I mean, let's see. Primal on the bow. Yeah, you put Primal on the bow right off.
The problem with
Crippler on the bow. That was it. Crippler on your bow. I think it was Crippler.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Crippler? No, Crippler was an arrow. Toxify with a poison in one quiver. Toxify with a different poison in another quiver, because mixing up poisons can be fun. Primal on the bow. Vampiric on the bow.
Vampiric's nice. Tsukumagami.
Yes.
That's one good thing. One thing I have Tsukumagami is that to use one of the abilities, you have to use one jutsu, followed by another jutsu, to then use an ability in it, which is really weird. You have to spend 6.5 AP.
Mm-hmm. But look at the flip side. You got to turn into this thing that did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, after the taijutsu change, it did kind of... Really...
So, in case you can't tell from the way we're talking about it, we have actually put a lot of discussion into them, and we decided they're all going to be baselined on how they balance against each other and against people not taking a Kinjutsu.
So, let me get this straight. So, Kenjutsu is supposed to be break. Well, the design of Kenjutsu is a illegal jutsu. Whatever, if it's based on reality
that's up for debate.
Yeah, but it's supposed to like be an edge or end game type thing for a character. So if
Yeah.
you balance it to the point where it's not like it doesn't actually give a player an advantage, what's the point of getting the Kenjutsu?
It will give you advantages in certain situations. What I mean by balancing it against people not having one is I don't want it so that if you have a Kenjutsu and the person you're fighting doesn't, you automatically win.
Yeah, definitely.
You should not be that powerful just because you took a Kenjutsu.
You're balancing it to
something like
6 class points and 3 abilities.
Right.
You need to
so like that
correct.
+1 augment, that could easily make up for 6 class points if you know what you're doing with augments. Doubling what your augments do, oh god, yes. Stuff like that. Abomination, let's face it, with Abomination I can give myself +15 to every accuracy type in the world if I wanted to. That's beyond 3 abilities and some class points. So, I mean, we're going to make it so that they do provide an edge if you know how to use them, but you don't have to use them to win fights.
That's fine. I do think that Kenjutsu could be a very valuable thing in regards to in-character development.
Oh yeah. Well, that's my thing is, like I said, it's not just that they're forbidden or anything. It's just that they're very hard to get in character. And I don't want them to be this super powerful, I have a Kenjutsu, you don't, I'm going to stomp you into the ground type thing. But on the other hand, we do want them to be worth taking. And at the end of the day, though, you got to remember, this is an RP site. If it makes sense in character for you to take that, take it. If it doesn't, then by all means, don't. I don't want people getting punished because their character would never do this, but build-wise, they need to.
Let me ask this. You know the canon show Naruto. Why do you feel like Kishimoto created concept of Kenjutsu? Because I feel like the Kenjutsu is more like a plot device designed for specific characters, but not necessarily.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah,
he just made these things. I don't think he ever actually made them with the idea that people on the internet would look at them and go, "We need to integrate this into a battle system."
Yes.
He made them with the intent of these people having these unique powers to make them interesting.
Yeah, which is, I don't know if that's a really good thing because, like we said before, you shouldn't build a character based on his person's abilities, but based on the actual character.
Yeah.
That's what Kishimoto is doing, basically, because the character becomes very boring because if you take out the Kenjutsu, the character it's not meaningful anymore. So...
But I mean, like, case in point, Joshinism. How many people in the manga, other than Hida, ever had any abilities even close to that?
No one.
No one.
Exactly.
It was almost like a bloodline.
At which point did it become an idea that a lot of people should have access to his powers then?
It's weird that we can
it
be
just
like
out of
revenant.
Kishimoto never said a lot of people can use this and he's just one who's using it. He made it out this guy has this power that no one else has. But because we're an RP site and everyone wants that thing and that thing and they want to go down that shopping aisle and shove everything into a cart and they want all the powers, those got added.
Yeah, which I don't know, it affects the actual uniqueness of the jutsu, because I mean back then when for instance like cap being capped or whatever, like you have all 600 stats in your character. Everybody has it, so it becomes less influential in regards to the story and things like that, because everybody's capped, so it doesn't really matter,
And I mean, we can't just. I would love it if we went back to where there were a lot of people just who were that much more powerful than everyone else. But I'm not going to force that. I'm not going to say, okay, only this many people are allowed to have a Genjutsu, because that's just stupid.
Yeah, that's almost going back to the old olden picture where only a certain amount of people could have bloodlines and then the rest of the people...
But, I mean, if I know CJ and I have talked about this before. Back when everyone was at a various range of power levels, RPing was a very different game. You had no clue if you could fight this person or not when you bought a B model. For all you knew, they could be 1,000 PL above you. And now everyone's like, okay, well, they're capped, I'm capped, okay.
we'll just do it. And it's just silly in a way.
Yeah.
But it happens. It's what happens when you have people who have been on the site for years and years and years and just bought everything and developed everything. But
one idea I've actually seen a few people tossing around to help with that, though, is allowing min-maxing. My only problem with that, though, is we have enough people on this site that would know how to abuse that in ways that we never anticipated, that it's not a good idea.
Yeah. Everything that goes to that, there's a way of people just abusing it, combining with things, working with people. But,
things that we never imagined, and they're going to use it.
Yeah. So, yeah, with Kinjutsu, we're just going to try and balance them as much as possible, keep them, as interesting in flavor and interesting in the kind of things. But we should be changing just to kind of balance them all together so that you don't feel forced into, oh, I have to go Rikudu Senin or Abomination to keep up in the power of other people. It allows you more freedom, I guess, in choosing stuff. You don't have to say, oh, well, Revenant's terrible.
Yeah. And we are working on a new Kinjutsu based on ponies.
Yeah. Ponies and dragons and...
Basically, it's My Little Pony, the Kinjutsu. We've decided there are enough people on NC that are into that we can make one and get away with it.
Mm-hmm. April 1st was a few months ago. So.
No, I'm mostly seeing if anyone says anything in the chat, because normally they're a lot more active in that chat room off to the side of the stream, and no one's saying anything.
Well, granted, it's mini episodes, so of course
but we got 6 viewers. They can talk.
Six quiet viewers. It's not like...
Yeah. I might be one of those viewers.
Maybe, yeah. Okay. So we got 3 viewers. They can talk.
They can talk.
But anyway, let's get back to topic. Is there anything in dev that's going on besides the refactoring of Kinjutsus and stuff, or what?
Well, obviously we're hard at work. When a break comes up, we're figuring it out. So.
Yeah. So we just changed Toxify and Envenom to fit new poison rules and changes that we hadn't foreseen beforehand. Let me just bring them up for a second. Where are they? I should have had this ready. So, yeah.
Yeah, Elliot, you should have been prepared.
Toxify now permits consumable poisons to be placed on weapons as injury types. So it allows you to use your sword instead of just using a needle. So you use consumable poison.
Syringe.
It's really, really useful. And Envenom is really strong right now. To that, it will make any poison that you have on your weapon treated as a heavy type. And if it is a heavy type already, it will receive 2 poison DC, which is really useful if you're going out with poisons and trying to disable people that way.
Because back in the day, poison wasn't really effective, so I guess now it's an actually usable thing in battle.
Yeah. And Guess who just asked a question, which Elliot and I can actually help with. He asked if we ever thought of allowing custom combat ninjutsu. We actually used to have custom jutsu allowed in fights.
Yeah.
And we had to remove them because it just got a bit ridiculous what people did with them.
Well, let me say this. When it was reinvented back in this version, what was happening was that someone submitted a jutsu or whatever, right, based on some specific credentials, and then Dev will like fix it up, just like how CRPG will be fixed up. You submit something, council will factor in some things and change it to their own liking that makes sense and balance, and they'll give it back to the user. So that's what was happening. Things were fine, but then sometimes people will miss some things and stuff. So I think it's not necessarily that it's a bad thing. It's just very hard to...
well, the thing is, a lot of people would submit something that by itself looked fine, and then you'd look at the rest of their build and realize, oh, they worded it so that it can combine with these 3 things to become stupidly powerful.
Yep.
And that was way too many people doing that. Dev was bogged down with that, so we just, nope, we're done.
I was one of those problems. My Hawkeye
Yeah.
jutsu, which somehow didn't really get changed at all. I sent some numbers in, and then Kambari was like, "Yep, that's fine." And suddenly, I had +8 crit. It was ridiculous.
Right. Elliot, I have a foot that you need to meet. Turn around.
Look.
Well,
In my dev application, I can talk about my dev application, can't I, Misaki?
Huh?
I was working on custom ninjutsu. I had a whole thing about it where you had a base amount of damage, 5,500 for an A rank, which is the typical beginning of it, and then from there, you
Do me a favor, Elliot.
Yeah.
Do not mention numbers anymore because you kind of scared us with your dev app.
Did I?
You reverse engineered the actual formulas.
Yeah, I know. I went through every single A rank and added
That came in. I'm not kidding. There was some talk in the admin chat about whether or not you were actually using a viewer to look into dev.
No, I just added. I just looked at everything, but yeah, basically.
I had an idea at one point. Well, actually, you keep going. I thought you were done.
No, carry on. I was pretty much done.
I had an idea at one point that I actually liked. You know what a Build-A-Bear workshop is. You go in, you get a base bear, and you add crap to it, and you dress it up, and yeah. I was going to do a Build-A-Jutsu workshop. Basically, every ninjutsu element, you have a base rank, like just S rank that does this much base damage. Then you could tack on modifiers. Okay, you get at each level you get one more modifier. So E you get 1, D you get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in S rank you'd have 6 modifiers. Something like I'm gonna make it an AOE, but that drops the base damage by this amount. Give it +1 accuracy, drop the base damage by this amount. Give it more base damage for this much accuracy cost. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was my idea. So
we have thought about it quite a lot. It's just trying to...
it's integrating these ideas.
Yeah,
we have to... Yeah, the big thing, we have to make sure, before we release it, that a mistake on our part does not result in someone steamrolling half a village before we can fix the mistake.
Yeah, we've had that quite a few times before.
Yeah.
Not even just with custom jutsu, but with just...
That was the entirety of 5.1 just about.
And I am still terrified of Romy versus Bow in version 5, which
will
do 20,000 damage in like 6 AP or something. I can't remember what the numbers were, but...
That wasn't much at all, dude. I can do 10,000. I can do 10,000 with less than 2 AP.
Yeah, but this was just using a bow without jutsu, I think.
I was just using 2 jutsu. 1.4 AP, and I did 10,050 damage.
Gosh. But,
And I was a Genin.
You're that baby. You're that big baby, right?
I threw a temper tantrum.
Yeah, I bet you did.
This was back when if you were 800 PL, you could actually roleplay like you were a badass.
Yeah.
Because that was a lot back then. Now you're 800 PL and you're like, oh crap, everyone's way up there.
Yeah. I remembered when 1,000 PL was a high amount. Anyway, enough reminiscing.
Yeah.
I was going to get really nostalgic.
Daiki, don't say, oh god, Rami, like you knew Rami.
Yeah. So, let's see. I like to discuss, I mean, right now, well, it's not really open right now, but we're trying to develop a card summit thing, right? It's been in plans for, I guess 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, more than that.
Yeah.
October of last year.
Yeah.
So it's coming up on a year.
Question about that kind of stuff, actually.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about how you guys felt about inter-village events and things like that, because a lot of times we've had a lot of inter-village exams and they've just not worked because people go inactive and it caused a lot of problems. But I do remember the Kage Summit being very successful.
Dude, I can go one better than that. Do you remember the inter-village tuning exam?
Yep. I remember it. I remember that for sure. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Yes. About that. So we're trying to figure out like how we should. First off, the location of which the exam would the actual summit
Moon.
be placed, and
Mm-hmm.
if this is going to be an antagonist, which a lot of people would divide right now in council because not in each council because is it really necessary for us to have an antagonist? I mean, it
Not
is.
necessary. I mean, there's always going to be one, though, and I'll tell you right now, I know who's going to be the antagonist of this meeting just because I know them.
It's me, isn't it? I'm the
No,
antagonist.
it's your boss.
Um,
Don't get me wrong, I think Umashi's a great guy, but he is going to be an antagonist just because he can. It's
I
just
think
how he is, and I don't blame him one bit.
That like Hoshikata because I don't know if he still is doing this, but he still wants to.
Oh, he's still planning it.
Does he still want to be the third party of the car summit?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
He wants to be that unbiased third party. Although his plan, I'm not going to lie, his plans for the summit have changed. At first, he was just going to get all you guys together in a room, call in his band, and kill everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious what's going to happen.
And yet no one actually...
I mean, even Akuma wanted to be a third party. He has his clan to be a third party.
This is the guy who's going around sealing all your people? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then again, I'm the guy going around kidnapping your people, so...
After he, sealed, a 8-year-old girl, and the girl still feels like Akuma is his brother because she doesn't see that, he really doesn't understand what's going on and stuff like that. So, I think it's very fun.
And who is that 8-year-old girl?
I think Hakera's 8 years old, I think.
He's 8 years old?
It's very interesting. So,
yeah.
But anyways, if you have an antagonist, how would that affect the entire village and stuff
Well, like I said, if he decides to make himself an antagonist for that meeting, it's going to paint that whole meeting differently than if he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
If we make an antagonist, then it would be a reason for all the villages to band together and play nice, which we've been doing for years now anyways. So
really? I mean,
yeah.
it's very... Well, not playing nice. We're pretty isolated, in my opinion, because...
That's playing nice.
Isolated.
Being nice and isolated are completely different things. We don't even know each other exists, pretty much. It's...
I think it depends. If you say the Kage Summit is in a certain village, say Earth, Lightning, or Stone, one of those ones, and you make an antagonist, some people might get worried it's a bit biased, that only the people in that village can deal with it. But at the same time, where would you actually put it in an NPC country? You have no one to protect you. But, I mean, I guess at the same time, I guess you don't really want that many people there. If you have all these people swamping topics to deal with people, unwanted guests, I guess the antagonist would have an unfair chance of actually doing anything to cause chaos. It's difficult. I mean, the last one went so well.
Yeah.
But in the problem, one issue with the car summit was that it was very long, and people could not do anything besides the car summit threads, which is also an important thing to discuss. Is that if we have this car summit, there should be the current travel rules right now, you're still able to role play.
Well, the current travel rules right now are actually great for it. I mean, like I said, yeah, you have to leave your village and go to the summit, but then you can immediately go right back to your village. You don't have to stay out of the village. I really don't see travel rules changing any more than that just for the event, though.
So, Derek, you're saying that once you join the thread, you just leave the country and then go back to your village?
That's how the travel rules are right now.
And just continue the thread.
The only thing, you cannot enter one village if you're in another village. That is the only thing.
But you can enter another country and still be in the same village? I don't
Yeah, you can. If you have a role play going on in Lightning Country, you can go and walk right into Stone.
Just for this event?
No, that's the travel rules period right now.
Oh, yeah.
So, Moon isn't an actual village, it's an NPC country. You can go there, you now have an RP going on in Moon Country. You can turn right around and go back home. and continue that RP.
Yeah, I can see that. So, yeah. So, and also the thing about custom is that it's a little bit too how you call it, elitist type thing because it's just the Kages and their representatives, right? So, how's
Yeah.
that benefiting the other characters? So, initially when the post hack when the site came back up, I wanted to have some type of summit, not summit, but like Shinobi conference, whereby we have different panels and have each village, kind of like an Olympics type thing, where each village hosts their culture or different ninja themes and topics that we can discuss. Kind of like Comic Con or like Anime Con, whatever. You go, they have panels and discussing about that theme, whatever. So it's kind of similar too, and it'll also be a good way to like create contracts, like some clients, maybe a weapons venue or whatever, stuff like that. But I didn't really catch on because people felt like, if why would I want to go to another village just to learn about their village? It seems like a bit self-centered and stuff. So I mean, we can still do this. We can still have maybe an inter-village tuning exam like we had before. We can still do that.
That was not a very successful thing.
Well, then wasn't it hosted in Sand?
Yeah.
Isn't that where it kind of falls apart? No offense to Sand, I love them and all, but
The point at which it fell apart was when we decided to get the entire site in on it.
yeah, it was. We had around 15.
Because, a bunch of missing showed up, for starters.
Yep, and missing Nin at that point were terrifying.
Yeah, and back then, missing Nin were not like they are now. It was not just, okay, that guy's got a purple banner, he's cool. No, back then, you found out someone was a missing Nin, usually it meant your face was about to get ripped off.
Yep, Saranshi, Ion, Kyojin, I think it was. Temujin, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Aiden even. And I guess, I don't know, it's hard to keep up an exam if people stop posting and not doing anything. And
Right, that was another big thing, was so many people.
Yep.
So, I mean, events are fine, like
maybe, say, a squad.
Yeah, or like the Tabanata Festival that we had last year. That was perfect. It was an event. You could automatically roleplay in it regardless of where you were. You could RP with people from other villages, get to know them and everything. And it was all canon.
Mm-hmm.
Was it? I don't think it was canon. The festival
Yeah,
was not
it was canon.
It was? Because I'm pretty
Surprise.
sure that it wasn't because of the travel rules, from what I was told. Because
I got told it was canon.
really, well, besides the point, I do like the fact that we could. I mean, credits to Yoji and the plot team at the time. They organized it pretty well. We had different games, different events, and they pretty much were like private threads you can join and stuff like that. So if, for instance, you got inactive, it wouldn't affect the entire event. They were very self-contained. So we can still do that. It shouldn't. The individual exam shouldn't just be about like an exam where you have to pass. I mean, it could be that way, but not like directly. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could be how you like. It could be exam like in a self-contained event whereby people you'd be graded about how you interact with people and like kind of like if you guys watch Hunter x Hunter, that's kind of the same way where they had an exam and they went through a lot of different trials, but then they weren't tested directly. They weren't told that this is an exam, like. But there was like spies or people watching them to see how they perform based on the situation. And if they succeeded, then like they'll be able to they were allowed to go to a different place or whatever. If they failed, then they'll be taken somewhere else, And until they finish all the events and they pass, they get the the award or whatever. So we can still do it that way, whereby it's not directly an exam, but it's kind of like we analyze how you do and stuff like that.
Okay, so you don't actually know if you're going to pass or fail until right at the end?
Yes.
Okay. So like a point system or a driving test or something?
Yeah. So, and the people don't see it as like, the exam isn't like, oh, it's going to be an exam, but like it's an event that, someone has like set up and stuff like that. You can join it, to increase your skill as Shinobi, but, it being an exam isn't directly being told to them. or whatever. But or we could tell them that it is an exam. You know, depending on how well you do with the turn if you get it ranked up, or whatever. So.
Well, here's the question for that then. Exactly how many people do we know that are ready to rank up the Chunin?
When I say Chunin, we have like Friends of Cloud has a lot of students, you know, academy students, which need to be turned into Ganin. I'm not sure about Stone or Sand, but there's a lot
don't have that many.
Well, in general, anybody in the village right now currently needs an exam. Is there anybody there, or it's just everybody's like upper rank right now?
We've got an exam going on for some people, and there's some people soon that will need an exam, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think. I guess not every village requires the exam. I mean, I know Cloud, for instance, we have a lot of students and a lot of people who need to become a Ganin, and we also like it in different specialization like Menin and Anbu and stuff. So exams is really necessary, especially if we have new players coming into the site and stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, so we don't know exactly what day we should hold the college summit. I think that we should wait until whatever's happening.
Well, Sand's event has got to finish first.
Yeah, exactly. The Sands event has to finish first because it's holding everybody up a little bit. And then Stone, whatever Stone plans on doing, if it has anything related to the other villages, should be done as well.
Well, last I checked, Stone is trying to start a war between Cloud and Sand.
No, it's not trying to start a war between Cloud and Sand. That was just one person. He paid a mercenary.
No, it's multiple people now. Endo wanted to at first. Now one of the Ryujin sisters is trying to.
Do I need to do a coup in my village as well now?
They hired a mercenary to go do something.
Yeah, they hired Yong, and then Yong retired.
Yeah.
Because he didn't like being a kudu senator or something.
And I had to point out to him, you know, yeah, you can go ahead and retire, but you can't come right back as the same person. You can't rebirth into your old character like that.
Nope. And that's the problem with having all your characters having the same name.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the same name, but the history itself, I think that was the problem.
Yeah. Well, mostly it was the fact that he had the same NPCs in everything.
Right. Yeah. But, yeah, so until everybody gets settled, then we can start, like, issuing, like, invites. But I don't know who will be the one, because we still need a third party, someone who can, like, start this, because...
May.
I mean, yeah, I mean... I don't know how far you've done, Jake, with the actual the letters and stuff like that. Because I know you said you went to... at the time you went to Miss and Leaf, right? But then they're both destroyed.
Miss is gone, but Hoshigata knows Massa personally. He has met with a Sennin and the Kazekage of Sand and gotten both of them to agree to it. He's obviously Shin is going to show up, or at least he's been telling everyone Shin's going to show up. He is definitely looking to head to Stone at some point and talk to the Tsuchikage.
Well, you've got 10 years, give or take half a decade.
Yeah.
So,
you got that long, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's how long the exile lasts. I don't actually think I got told that during the exile I had to stay in Lightning Country. I got told not to enter Cloud.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
So, I mean, I can go to Stone and do all that during the month that I'm not allowed to enter Lightning Country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I forgot to mention that we might end up closing the village from any mercenaries or anybody who is not affiliated to Cloud immediately, because we're trying to clean house because there's just too many chaos going on in the village, because we have a lot of mercenaries that are not accounted for. People are doing things that are like not necessarily what...
Well, see, that's one of the reasons Hoshikata's trying to oust you.
Yeah, because ousting me is going to solve all the problems.
No, but he's going to tell people it will.
That's not true. I mean, that's not going to solve anything, but, you know, no one wants, like, because Shin's a reasonable person, a reasonable Kage. So, yeah, sometimes he's too kind at sometimes, but if there's reasonable doubt for his decisions, he'll always correct it. but you wouldn't want someone like. I mean, back in the day, we had Komio as Rikage, and he was so chaotic as a Rikage. I don't know if you guys knew him as a
Oh,
character.
Lord. It stabilized the village when someone came through, killed him, and took his place. When that creates a stabilizing effect, there's a problem.
That's a bad problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it was a very interesting time because Komi had a wife, Katsumi at the time, so it was the first time we had like an actual paternal Kage leadership thing. So it's kind of
Well, Shin can get married.
Yeah, I mean Shin's not too old to get married, but I don't know anybody compatible right now who could marry him.
Hikari.
Hikari?
Yeah.
Hikari's not 19 years old, but
Dude, everyone is shipping you two.
really, who's shipping?
No, I'm kidding.
That's sad. It's very weird. Yeah, so it seems like Shin is like, the very, I don't know what the term is. He's a loner for now, so I guess until find some.
He's always got data.
Yeah, he gets data. The synthetic droid thing, but yeah.
But I heard that everyone loves Shin. Everyone goes after Shin.
I have yet to see anyone going after Shin.
Well, NPCs.
That's the rumors going round. That Shin is.
I know. Someone kept telling me one day that they thought your new avatar was hot.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Which one? The one I have right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
I think that's like what your second avatar is Shin.
Yeah, my second avatar. Oh, actually, my third avatar. My
Third?
first
Okay.
one was really bad. Second one was
Your Skype picture, which you had for years.
Yeah.
I can't keep the same avatar for like 6 months. Shin had that thing for 6 years.
I did. And this one, I think the one I have right now is the best one I have. I think I like it a lot, so. And hopefully I'm going to get the Kami contract, which is going to be awesome because I have the Kami and Yokai contract. So
Wow.
I don't see how that works. I really don't.
You don't see how that
try
works?
and combine them together.
Oh, God.
Well, I'm not going to make I've decided not to make a combined contract because battle-wise, it doesn't seem really useful because according to
It's
the
not
rules,
battle-wise. It's RP. You basically take 2 contracts. I want this E rank here. I want that D rank there.
Yeah,
that's what that works out like.
I can't, for instance, I want to summon both S rank from both contracts. I can't do it if it's combined. I can only choose one of them, right? So,
yeah,
it's not really a good idea.
But
really
you get to reflavor the contract when you do that.
Be cool flavor contract, but I understand it's less variety for you.
That would actually be your way, Shin, to take the yokai contract and try to make it good. You can reflavor it through Kami.
Yeah, well, it makes sense roleplay-wise, but it doesn't really help me battle-wise because if I wanted to use an S-Ring yokai and I've chosen the S-Ring Kami contract, I can't use it. So,
Yeah.
it'd be more,
Well, like I said, battle-wise, no, but roleplay-wise, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, do what makes sense in character.
Yeah, it's true.
Who are these days, anyways?
Who does?
I'm going to have to stab someone, I think.
Yeah.
I think I'll start with you.
Who, me?
Whoever said that.
No, you.
Yeah, not you. You.
Yeah, so there's not much to talk about right now, so I think we could, unless there's any other questions or comments.
Right. Someone asked me if I can do an after call. If I get 4 people other than Daiki willing to join the after call, I can make an after call. But I'm going to be cooking dinner during the after call, so.
I'll probably be going to bed.
Yeah. Elliot has a weak constitution against sleep. He can't pull an all-nighter anymore.
The last time I did that, I was up 35 hours.
He's getting to be an old man.
Graduation caused that.
Come on, Grandpa, let's take you to bed.
I remember back in my day.
I can see Elliot now. Get off my lawn! Elliot,
There
do
was
me a
only
favor.
3 slashing taijutsu.
Yeah. God, yeah. No. I remember back in the day, if you had any weapon other than a sword, you couldn't do taijutsu.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, you have an axe? Well, there are no axe moves past what was it? Level 2 was the only axe move?
Level 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have an axe? Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, you either had to go unarmed, bow, or a sword.
Who was it? You remember Anzu? Takao?
Takao.
Yeah, at one point he rebirthed into Leaf and named himself Anzu.
Yeah, I think so.
He actually, as Anzu, used an axe. And he raffle stomped someone with that thing just using basic strikes.
Wow.
Because, Anzu was one of those people, no one really thought about it, but then you got to looking. Back then, Anzu was capped. He was one of 3 or 4 cat people on the site. Yeah. And the person who called a BMOD on him didn't know this. They were 1600 PL. So you can imagine how that fight went.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as bad as the time I called a BMOD on Saranishi. My character was literally punched to death. No jutsu or anything, no buffing. Guy just, Nara, didn't even have any passive buffs to unarm, just punched me to death.
Ouch.
Yeah. I was just sitting there like, dude. Is it bad there used to be such a thing as suicide by Saranishi?
Well, Saranishi did eat my teammates' arms. Literally KO'd all 3 of
you must not have been close to capped at that point, because you were scary when you were capped.
1500.
Yeah.
At that point.
Once you hit about 3,000, you got really scary.
Something a bit under that after I learned how to break Nanjiro.
Yeah, what were you, plus 50 dodge?
Something like that.
I was sitting there, I had to mod that crap once, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, and then add 30%. What the crap, baskets?
Yeah.
It was literally just take their current dodge, take this percentage of it, and add it onto it. And I'm like, that's not good.
Yeah, it took Dev a year and a half before they changed anything. And it was right at the end before version 5.5.
Yeah.
And I thought, right, retiring. See you later.
Well, you do know what the 5-1 balance formula was, right? Or the motto for it was. If everything's broken, everything's balanced.
Yeah. Not quite true, when you can dodge everything.
Well, I'm about to be able to do that.
Well then, I guess until then we'll keep you guys posted about the next episode. I think next week will be plan on what time and day we'll post the episode and stuff like that. So,
all right, see y'all later.
Cool. See you.
Yeah.